Hi there, welcome to the Friday show. Thank you very much for joining me. Lizz Winstead is my very special guest. I don't have your news or clips today because I took the day off, taking a couple days off. I'll be posting a little bit abnormally in terms of the format and schedule over the next few days, early next week. But I will be back for next week's Hangout. Sorry I missed you last night, but I do have a great conversation with Lizz today. I can't do these conversations without your support. I get the best guests in the country to join me, the best experts, the most interesting, most brilliant, and hilarious often guests. Lizz Winstead, no exception to that. You can find her at Abortion Access Front. She's the co-creator of The Daily Show. She's an author, a speaker, a comedian, and a good friend of mine. I love Lizz. I've talked to her so many times over the years, and one of my favorite people to talk to. We caught up yesterday, and here is what it sounds like. Let's do it with Lizz Winstead. Do I need to get threads? Yeah, I like threads. I mean, I hate all of it, but I like threads.
I really don't like, I feel like I do threads, just I connect it all when I post. So I don't actively post on threads. I kind of post on Instagram and it populates on Facebook.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah.
But I do feel like I get a lot of crummy hate on it.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that, but I don't care because you're one of the people who I've always, since the Twitter days, like, I will obviously have you on all my favorites, but I'll go search to see what you posted today. I'm a big fan of your posting, and so if you're like not posting because it's played out or you get negative, like, I don't care. I want what I want. My Lizz Winstead.
I don't ever not like the comments and the trolls and stuff don't really bug me. Because it's all the same and a lot of it's bots and a lot of it's like, are you a man? I was like, what does that even mean?
Okay, well,
is that a proposition? Are you going to pay me more? What are you asking?
I have a lot of things I want to talk with you about and ask you about. And looks like you have a lot going on. What do you have going on? You're going to be doing a TED Talk. You just did a panel at Georgetown, and with all the, like, you get invited to like such like prominent, serious organizations. You're such a big deal, and people all want to have you do things for them. What are you doing?
So here's the thing. I canceled my TED Talk. I'm not going to lie. No, and it's nothing other than I'm in the middle of a massive work project at Abortion Access Front.
Okay.
And I'm going to Vienna to do a workshop with a bunch of activists.
Austria?
And Vienna, Austria. Yeah, international activists are getting together. And prepping a TED Talk is really intense. And you have to do it in the specific timeline with coaches. And you have to memorize it. And I was like, I thought I could do it. I agreed to it like in March. And then I was like, I don't think that I have time to craft what I need to craft and on somebody else's timeline.
Yeah. And work with other people.
Given the fact that they have like a timeline, I didn't want to dishonor their timeline. And I didn't want to like at the last minute be like, we're fucked here. Like, I don't have a talk. I don't have it memorized. Like, and I don't want to embarrass myself on the TED stage. So I bailed out. So hopefully I'll do it again. Hopefully they'll ask me again. But like, I was just like, I can't.
Just you describing what that entails gives me a sense of relief knowing that you canceled. You must have felt relieved.
I did feel relieved only because I was like, I'm pretty good at like multitasking all the shit I do. I'm pretty good at understanding my limits. And I was just at a moment where I was like, I can't do this. And I won't be good. And Ted's not going to be happy.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be happy. So if I can get out of it early enough after the first, like, let's have a serious conversation about structure and how this goes. And it's like,
no, I wouldn't.
I understand notes. I understand all that shit, right? We all get notes and everything. But like working on a thing where you get notes and then you have to go back and revise and do that, that kind of has to be your only job. Like,
that's a tough task.
It's tough.
It's
really tough.
I'm sure.
So yeah. And I was excited too because it was going to be in Minneapolis. There was going to be some really cool activists who worked through Operation Metro Surge and were doing all this cool stuff. So if you're in the Twin Cities, I would say go to Orchestra Hall and see the TED Talks on August 4th because they're going to be great.
What is going on in Austria? Who are these activists? So there's a bunch of some kind of feminist bonanza in Europe, and is it because there are similar issues around the world that you are working together? Like I think very much about America. I don't know what's happening with issues around feminism, equity, gender equity, etc. in Europe, much less other places necessarily.
Yeah. So it's people like I just came back from Kenya, actually, where I was at an international conference with 900 people working on reproductive health from around the globe. So not just Africa, but like Europe, America. And that was really fascinating. And so this is a smaller group of people who are using it's sort of a smaller creative hub of people who are kind of doing what I do, which is sort of mixing pop culture and humor to elevate an issue and then sort of work in the calls to action, but kind of like expanding out how you raise awareness, make change, be the, solutions you want to see in the world. So it's about 40 people who are working together, talking about exchanging creative tools, how we do things, working with and on a playbook that can be a universal playbook with which we can use. That's kind of challenging authoritarian rule, and then the kind of what issue you work on under authoritarians. And Americans didn't used to be in the authoritarian collab, and now we are. So
certainly.
So it'll be very cool. It'll be very cool to see what people are doing and what we're doing, seeing how we can exchange ideas, and I'm excited about that.
Okay. Well, that sounds exciting, and I want to learn more about what you learn, if anything. I can imagine you be more of a teacher than a student, but I can imagine you learn a lot from folks around the world. The
one thing I'm excited about is, for those that don't know about Abortion Access Front, we part of what we do is big, showy, public awareness-raising campaigns. And one of those is we had a costume designer from RuPaul's Drag Race create for us gigantic, sparkly, inflatable abortion pill costumes that we take to the streets in, and then we sing songs. So one of the things I'm very excited to do in Austria is have that abortion pill run up the hill, not unlike Maria in The Sound of Music, and sing, "The pills are alive." So I'm very excited about that.
Oh my God. That's good. That's good.
Yeah,
I like
it's gonna
it.
be great.
So few things I want to talk with you about. Obviously,
Yes.
This Graham Plattner situation. You familiar? Have you heard about this?
I've heard.
So there's a lot of people that before these latest revelations were making the argument that if you care about women's issues, then you got to elect this guy because he is going to do more for women than Susan Collins, ironically. And you're going to have to look past it. And these allegations, are questionable or something like that. That was like a couple weeks ago. And I wonder, before we get to these latest allegations, what you made of that argument. You can't let the gross guy here, clearly, not the greatest guy in his past at least, be the enemy of the good, which is potential legislation that a Democrat majority Senate could pass. You know the argument. I think I try to do my best. What did you make of that kind of?
I think my whole vibe always is I don't really feel like I heard a lot of proactive fighting for things that I believe in. I also have seen a lot of men who share my political views be sexual predators and be sex pests and be drunk and apologize and not understand the import of maybe those allegations before where Graham Plattner, nobody was accusing him of rape. They were accusing him of being drunk and being aggressive and being creepy. Creating that environment for women is disqualifying. And I don't care. Never mind, I didn't know I had a Nazi tattoo. Never mind the Reddit posts. I can't sell out the environment with which women are trying to survive in because somebody shares my views on several issues. But if you repeatedly have done shit that is rocking the foundation of women and in how they go about their lives, you're not qualified.
Right.
And I would say it would be incumbent upon you to understand the political climate we are in and say, I got too much baggage. And even though maybe on some of that baggage you can forgive a person, a big person, a true person who really wanted to defeat Susan Collins, in my opinion, would have said in his own personal assessment of himself, a guy like me can do this. I want to help find the guy like me who doesn't have the baggage that I have.
Right.
And that's what a true person would do. I created The Daily Show. It would have been my dream to host it. I wasn't right to host it. It needed the embodiment of what that was, needed Craig Kilborn, right? Needed that thing. And so I didn't put myself up for it because I wasn't right for it. That's the dumbest analogy I've ever said in my life. But you got to assess all the time.
No, it's not.
Are you the right person?
It's not.
And if you have that much baggage and if you did assess it and say, I'm still the right person, then you are not the right person for me because you can't prioritize women if you systemically didn't understand that how you created spaces for them to exist in was scary and terrible. No, I'm good.
What do you make?
Poor Susan Collins. I don't know who she's going to vote for now. Graham Plattner's her perfect candidate.
Yeah.
She loves to vote for a sexual predator. That's her jam.
All the jokes.
Like, what's she going to do? Vote for herself?
All the jokes and memes have been pretty darkly hilarious given the situation.
I know. I've been making them.
Also, just want to ask you your kind of political strategist hat on, and just there's been a lot made of how Graham Plattner was basically chosen by these two people who apparently worked on Bernie Sanders campaigns or something like that, and it just wasn't vetted well. Do you want to spend any time thinking or talking about that?
I mean, I think that the vetting, I think it was bad. I think we could talk about it all we want. I don't know that I have any better takes than somebody else, but I do feel like what came up in your vetting, how did you vet? Like, again, did you people also find out a quarter of this shit and think it was okay and think, you know what, it's great? Because also, like, if you want to double back, right, and or pull out rather, it's like, not only did people be like, yeah, okay, here's what we know, and that's fine, and he can go, and he's the guy. That says you're selling out groups of people, anti-Semitism, it's not really, he didn't know, we can work on that. You know, the sexism, you know, we can work on that. It wasn't rape, so it was some other thing. We can work on that. Those people co-signed on part of that. Some Mainers co-signed on that. America, who funded from outside money, co-signed on that. And people are still doubling down on that. And I, hate Susan Collins with the fire of 1,000 suns. Let's be clear. There is nothing worse than a woman who is doing the bidding of the patriarchy in the name of saying that she cares, you know, with these unbelievable, you know, this concern diarrhea that she keeps spewing. It's bad. I want her gone. And so I think now Graham Plattner has the opportunity, and has had the opportunity for moments now, days, weeks, months, to leave so that there is an opportunity to get rid of Susan Collins.
Do you take any pride or heart in the fact that you can't really run, much less win, a primary, much less a general, as a Democrat if you've got this kind of checkered past accusations, I'll say, Andrew Cuomo, Swalwell, now Plattner, and the Democratic Party has a certain set of standards that no matter how close it is to the deadline or how much of a front runner you are, you're out, you're gone. We will not support you. What do you make of that idea, that standard?
Yes. I feel like there is nothing wrong with being on the right side of an issue. The days of women holding their nose and voting are over. The days of Bill Clinton are over. You know, it's like if you decide to step out before it becomes a massive problem, you know, Al Franken stepped down and Tina Smith stepped in, and Minnesota has never had a stronger senator than Tina Smith.
People,
in my view.
It's worth mentioning that a lot of times people criticize those who ran Al Franken out, but I've seen many people respond with, and they ran Tina Smith in, and she's better than him. Is that what you're saying? That's what I've heard a lot of people.
She was great. Tina Smith is a champion, a progressive champion.
Yeah.
And Al's assessment of how the focus would be on Al and how that would change the dynamic of a lot of things. He stepped out. Blame whoever you want about it. He did that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you can have all the feelings you want about how you feel aggrieved, but if the accusations, Tim Walz did nothing wrong, but he was completely and utterly attacked by the right wing, trying to act like he was setting up and aiding and abetting all this fraud in Minnesota. And Tim Walz said, I love my state, and I'm going to make sure that my state stays blue, and my governor is going to continue my policies, and I'm stepping back.
Yeah,
and I was like, I felt so bad because I loved Tim Walz.
Yeah.
And I felt so bad, but it was what he had to do. Our state was under siege by ICE. This false narrative and this craziness around this white woman who started a fucking fraud ring and looped in vulnerable Somali people. And Tim Walz was just getting hit from all sides. And he's like, I can't govern if I have to fucking have this shit hitting me. So again, somebody who looked at things and said, I got to step back so that I'm not the focus.
If you truly care for your cause, for your organization, for your TV show, and you want it to succeed and survive, then you have to put your own ego and interests aside so that it can do that. It doesn't seem, I mean, that could be hard for people to do, but that's exactly what needs to be done, and that's what good leaders and inspiring people do. And usually when you do something like that, it ends up creating a kind of good karma and reputation and energy, so that whatever comes next, you're like, yeah, I like that person because they did the right thing. They didn't put themselves first. And so I stay in the Senate until they're 900 years old, which is a different issue.
And can we get to the point where people understand and do deep dive self-assessments so they don't end up running to begin with?
Well, right.
You know, because I don't want to be in this constant state of skeleton. I'm too afraid to come forward. And now I'm coming forward. You know, it's like survivors can't come forward early because it's terrible. So all this shit starts happening in a snowball effect. So I would say do some self-assessing, elect more women. We tend to have less crappy baggage.
Tend to.
The whole thing is crazy. And I am so not interested in the argument that our democracy, we all want to change the Senate. And the only person who is to blame in any of this is Graham Plattner. And it is, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. It wasn't rape. I didn't, I don't care. Shut up. Why are you here?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Why are you here to begin with?
Are you seeing anyone influential, prominent, respected still defending Graham Plattner? Because I feel like some people.
No, I'm seeing trolls on the internet.
That's what I'm seeing too. Okay, good. Well, good. That's good to see.
That feels good.
It does. Yeah. All right. I want to ask you about two other big things and anything else that you want to talk about that you're doing. But you are a New Yorker through and through and have been for 75 years. And you also are a Minnesotan for 80 years.
Through and through.
Through and through. You are. It's not bi-coastal. What do you call yourself before I ask this question?
I am mid-coastal.
There's no name. There is no word. You don't use anything.
There is no
you
word
just say
for what I am. You know what I am? The luckiest person in the world that gets to live in Minneapolis and New York.
You do, and those are two really important places, cities in America for lots of reasons. Anyway, you have thoughts on, obviously, on everything, including what is going on in the Democratic Party, this DSA movement. You know Mamdani as a New Yorker. Maybe you know him because you're a big deal. But I want to know what you think of what's happened in New York and across the country. On social media, I've seen you been overwhelmingly supportive of these radical leftist communist types.
Yes. Oh, yes. And Islamists.
And even Islamic. I read today that do you know I read today the Jews overwhelmingly, there was some poll question, who do you like better, Mamdani or Netanyahu? American Jews asked, and overwhelmingly they liked Mamdani, American Jews, more than Netanyahu.
Yeah. Here's the deal. No one likes Netanyahu. If you do, lose my number. Lose me, lose it. Bye-bye. Fuck that guy. But I feel, it was interesting because I really loved Mamdani in the run-up to the election. I really loved his, hunger strike with the cab drivers. I really just liked everything about him in the lead up in his campaign for mayor. And I really saw a path that made sense, that if you demand people pay their fair share in taxes, jillionaires, where we have so many of them here in New York, you can make change. You can actually do things. And I wondered if his win was just because, Cuomo was such garbage, Eric Adams, such garbage, right? That it was is it just that okay, it's this guy?
Yeah.
And then he has been improving New York steadily.
So campaigning different than governing.
Yes. And was governing. At the same time, the second he started governing, he was living up to his promises. He is governing things are changing. And then his endorsement of other candidates like him, that was going to be the test, right? So he endorsed some folks, and many of them won. And I just feel like I don't align with everything the DSA stands for, just like any party you shouldn't. But I align with them more than I do the traditional Democratic Party right now, because I do believe in Medicare for all. And I do believe that standing for something is better than saying I'm going to work across the aisle.
Right.
The across the aisle is garbage. There's nothing going on there that is helpful. And so if you want, lower housing costs and affordable health care, and I don't want my tax dollars funding a war machine in Israel that's bombing Gaza. I don't want that. I want that money to go into my schools, and I want that money to go into the mouths of my neighbors and into childcare and school lunches. And I think that that's what I believe in. And I feel like dancing around and taking money from corporate PACs, how are you going to get reform if you're taking money from people who never want reform? It's like we have a historical record now of Democrats saying they want things and then going like this, and then Mamdani doing a lot of that in a city that's gigantic, because he doesn't have to answer to people, or that's how it feels to me.
What do you think is going to happen here with the Democratic Party? I don't even know what language to use, Liz. I never like labels, talking about where you are on the political spectrum, the Overton window, if you will, the establishment, the corporate, the incumbent Democrats, whatever. But you made one specific point there about those who would work across. I'm just going to work across the aisle. You're not against compromise, I guess, certainly not in the Democratic Party. What you're saying is that the Republicans clearly haven't had a good idea that would benefit the middle class, much less, anybody else for all those.
Right. The Republican Party has co-signed on their own demise. They have not checked this president. They have not worked in the interest of the people at all. So what I say is what we're working with right now is a spectrum of Democrats, right? That share a foundation that's at least reality. So if we're going to compromise, then it's going to be with the center, the right, the liberals, the left, and the DSA. All those people have to compromise with each other and figure out how they can work together. And so that's what that across the aisle to me doesn't exist anymore, because one party has abdicated democracy. Goodbye.
And
so
the levels of corruption that we've seen, the scams and scandals.
The progressive wing of the Democratic Party compromise and make deals, and also, pave different roads for what Democrats used to be. Look, the DSA is just basically New Deal Roosevelt shit.
Yeah.
That's what this is. And if people want to brandish it as something else, it is Democratic Party principles to their core. Strong unions, health care for all, a living wage, and not wasting our money on needless wars.
Environmental standards, gun regulations, just
yes.
stuff that overwhelmingly.
Educating our kids, it's like, yeah. And it's also like what I also really love is, and Minnesota's very much like this also, and that is understanding the responsibility you have to your neighbors and what that means. There is no, I got mine and I'm good. I am aware in the building I live in New York, in my neighborhood in Minneapolis, where the elderly folks are in my building, where the people are in my neighborhood that need help, people who might, you check on people. Have you seen so-and-so down the street? Have they been out? Do we know? Like, how are they doing?
Yes.
So-and-so's son broke their leg. Does anybody know how that, you know that. And Minnesotans, you saw it in action last winter, but what you saw in action last winter is just a byproduct of how we are always. So we basically just amped up what it means to be a neighbor, and people saw the potential that we have to do that.
Such a good point. That's an attitude. Unique. It's an attitude. It's a philosophy. It's a belief system that simply says, I care about strangers, including folks who are more vulnerable. Yeah, I care about them. That is an attitude, a philosophy, and an ideology that a lot of us have and practice, and you've seen that in practice, and that's what we believe good government should be resourcing and enabling you to do that, so that we don't have to band together necessarily and check on that lady, because we know that we pay into an organization that's going to make sure that it does that. But of course we're going to do it anyway, especially if she bakes a good sourdough. But but also I think we never want to take away or have the government replace how we care for our neighbors, because that's how we demand better government. Well, sure.
But I think what we want is when we're neighbors and we're just folks getting together and trying to make sure so-and-so's collecting money for somebody's health care or for diapers for somebody or whatever that is, those programs can't be sustained only by neighborly things. It's kind of like neighbors can show love and get together in times of solidarity, but neighbors can't sustain. We are not a system. And so in order for our neighbors to thrive, they need a system in place, whether that's Medicaid, like deciding that people have to go to work to continue their Medicaid.
But I mean, like, public transportation, pre-K, I mean, all those programs have to be funded and sourced by government and taxpayer money. But that is its own philosophy, and you were comparing and contrasting that to what, I guess, quote, rugged individualists believe, or the conservative ideology in America always has been, which has always been so anti-government. But don't DSA members and Democrats and anyone have to prove that they can actually deliver those things and not just say that they can or believe that they can, and that they're not corrupted by special interests? Like, I feel like that's where it all matters, and I feel like Mom Donnie is kind of doing that. What's the feeling in New York amongst your neighbors and friends?
I mean, I think, there's this sort of misnomer that these DSA folks are coming out of nowhere and simply are coming from like some activist space and have utopian dreams of whatever. Mom Donnie served in public life in government for years and then ran for mayor. Abdul Saeed worked in public health. It's like these people are not coming from nowhere and without experience and without like knowledge of how systems work. Some are maybe, but not many, I would say. And so it's really like, what will be revealed, and the experiment that needs to happen is when you don't take corporate money, how will you govern, and what does that look like? And how do your constituents feel, and do they understand when you will have to compromise? Because it's an interesting way to run. I think leveling with folks that like, here are my values. Here's where I won't go. Here's where I won't take. But when I get into lead, where am I going to, I'll let you know where I'm going to compromise.
Right.
And I think if you can be honest with like how you have to compromise, if I can't get to, because I think people just want you to try, it's kind of like Mamdani with, he just put in place. So, a lot of low income people, when they lose their homes or they lose their jobs, they have to surrender their pets because they can't afford them. And so he started a pet program where he put $750,000 into being able to, low income people or people who are struggling can get dog and cat food and
Wow.
vet and go to the vet.
I'd not heard about that. Wow.
And the bill, people, they were asking for like, I don't know, 10 million or something, and Mamdani's like, I don't have 10 million, but I have this, and I will, and we can work a little bit with this. And so it's kind of like, what are we getting and what are we doing? And, he's not piloting all the grocery stores, but he's piloting one, the state-run grocery store. And then people immediately get mad at that. It's like, what do you think happens on every military base in America? We have government-run grocery stores.
Yeah, but they probably only have like
what the PX is.
One brand of ketchup.
So it's Heinz. If people can get healthy food and we see what happens in the state-run grocery store, if the state can make money off of people buying healthy food, I'm for that experiment. We've experimented with a lot of fucking bad ideas in this country. I am more than happy to put money into experiments that are for the betterment of others and see where they land.
They work really well in other countries. It's like we know it's going to work if it's run appropriately. Human behavior will dictate such. All right, before I let you go, Lizz Winstead, what do you make of that Supreme Court and the term? I guess one good decision on mifepristone, the abortion pill, seems good, but I might be misreading what's about to come or that decision itself.
Yeah, they just basically threw it back to the Fifth Circuit, the worst court in America, and said you can continue to send pills through the mail until the court goes back and hears it. So on September 9th, the Fifth Circuit is going to hear. It's a case called Louisiana v. FDA. And what state of Louisiana is big mad because states like New York, where abortion is legal, and California have something called shield laws, which it's legal to have a telehealth visit and dispense medication from a state where abortion is legal to somebody in a state where it is not. Right. Now, is it safe for the person to receive it? Those laws are different. It's safe for the person to dispense it. So a New York doctor has been doing that. The state of Louisiana sued, saying it violates the Louisiana law that's banned all abortion. And also that this pill is not safe enough to be sent through the mail. Now, the statistic on medication abortion, it's very simple. 7.5 million people have used this drug from 2000 until 2006. The deaths related to, and when I say deaths related to, I mean that someone took an abortion pill and within a window of time, they either had harm or died, is the number of those people is 36.
It's safer than Advil is the best argument.
Safer than Advil, safer than Viagra, safer than all of it. So it went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court says, go back to the Fifth Circuit where it came out of. I want you to litigate it with the full court. Regardless of how the Fifth Circuit rules, either the manufacturer of the pill or will sue if they lose, and if they win, the state of Louisiana will appeal. So either way, it's going to the Supreme Court either in late 2026, early 2027. And what it means is 63% of all the abortions that are happening in the United States since 2023 have been pills.
Right.
So if they ban sending it through the mail, it is almost a near abortion ban. But people will still access it. And regardless of how they rule, guess what? It's still safe.
Only in those.
And it's only one pill. They're only ruling one pill. That's an important point. What's approved for protocol in the United States is 2 pills, mifepristone and misoprostol. Mifepristone is what they're arguing about because misoprostol has something called off-use, which means with several drugs you take, it was approved for one thing, but then they found it has extreme benefits for something else. Botox, for example, was great for some kind of, I don't know, thing. And then all of a sudden they found out that it's great for your face. So you can that's how you get Botox or whatever. So there's a ton of pills that people take for many things. Misoprostol is one of them. You can have an abortion with simply that pill. It's different than the both regimen. So, that's where we're at. So we'll be fighting that tooth and nail. Right now we've got a project where we're collecting people's real life experiences using medication abortion from the time it's been on the market till now. So 26 years of really beautiful stories. So if you've used medication abortion, want to tell your story, you can fill out this form. And your story will populate on this beautiful website called Miffy, which is short for mifepristone, miffystories.com. Really cool. And then we're going to present those stories to the FDA and to all of the legal people who are trying to say that it's unsafe because your lived experience says otherwise.
And so does the data, of course. That's awesome. That's a great project. And if anybody wants to partake or knows about somebody who does, send them over to Miffy.
Yeah, send them over. And then we're doing a big action in the fall in conjunction with that I can't talk about right now. Oh, but it will be very visible and you'll be able to see it in real time this fall.
There anything else before I end this conversation for everybody that you need us to do? Any orders, Liz, from the lieutenant?
Marching orders are right now. I just can't think of any because my brain is off. I'm going to paint a clinic in Pittsburgh Friday. That's what I'm doing, and then I'm driving to Minnesota. So
you're going to what?
So part of what we do at Abortion Access Front is we help
paint a clinic.
Paint a clinic. Yeah. So we're painting some exam rooms at a clinic in Pittsburgh. So I got a whole crew going in and doing some home improvement.
I love it. You make a difference. You make a difference every day in everybody's life, and you continue to and always have. And I'm so happy to see you as always and talk to you. And thank you very much for joining us, Liz. Keep up the good work.
Thanks for having me. It was really great to catch up. Okay, sometimes I forget that we're like on a thing.
I know. That's how it is with us every time. It always is. But that's what people like, hopefully, and appreciate about us. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching live, everybody, and bye-bye. All right, there you go. Lizz Winstead, Abortion Access Front. Go support her. Follow her on Blue Sky and Threads and everywhere else, and support her organization and her work any opportunity you get. That's it for the week. Thank you very much for your support. Patreon.com. And you can always pay more. You could send money via Venmo if you got a little extra this month to throw your pal Pete's way for all the work that we do here. Me, can't do it without you. Thank you very much for being here. John Carroll taking us out as he does every day. JohnCarroll.org. Support his work and everybody else. Talk to you later. Have a great weekend. Be the change you want to see in the world, everybody.
When the tyrants taunt you and the sirens teach you, better stand up. Stand up. Let the brave meet the challenge, let the weak flee. Boy, you better stand up. Stand up. When you're tired of begging, saying pretty please, that's the time you gotta finally get up on your knees. When you can't see the forest for the burning trees, you got to stand up. Hey, you've been sitting so long, you got the creaky knees, you gotta stand up. Stand up. I think you're driving wheels with leaking grease. Boy, you better stand up. Stand up. Well, there's a whole lot more of us who know what's right. They'll keep right on ignoring us if we keep sitting tight. You got to open up the window to let in some light. You gotta stand up. That's right. You got stand up. You gotta stare the devil straight in the eye. We got to let him know it's his turn to go. See it clear when all you hear is a lie. Don't get up off of your butt, get down off of your fence. Even if it ain't a very friendly audience, well, they'll begin to listen when you start making sense. And you stand up, stand up. No need to point your rifle to defend your town. Just stand up, stand up. You know they can't deny you what you're laying down. Boy, you better stand up, stand up. Show your face of every color, yellow, black, red, and brown. She's the place where every lost child will finally be found. There's only one thing to do before we stand our ground, and that's stand up, stand up. Well, the founding fathers saw a land for all. They had to stand up, they had to stand up. They had a keen imagination for a crystal ball, drawing all the plans of a stand up. But all they had to go on was the time they were in, with other causes for laws, and since they weren't even sin, they knew that change was gonna come before the change could begin. They had to stand up. All right, they had to stand up. We got to stand up. We got to look the devil square in the eye. We gotta let him know it's his time to go, and make it clear when all we hear is a lie. Why you lying awake wondering where the money all went? It'll be the cost of freedom that'll go unspent. You can see him flee the scene of that experiment if you stand up. Alright, we got to speak up, we got to reach up, and raise your voice in every way you know how. Don't be toes up, you got to show up. Ain't no better time to do it but now. No need to pledge allegiance to no wanton tribe. Rise up, show obedience to the voice inside, and listen well and it'll tell you not to run and hide. It says stand up.